All right, this weekend we got UFC 280. Let's get to the screen share here. It says UFC 281 for some reason. And Charles Oliveira, Islam Makhachev, Peter Yan against Sean O'Malley. Crazy fight card this one is. What are you looking at in terms of best bets?
Well, first, I'll just start by saying this is my favorite fight card of the year. Hands down, this card is stacked from top to bottom. Fighters all over the world. You talk about proof positive of the growth of the sport. Um, you look no further than this card because you've got fighters from all over the world at the highest level, up and comers, veterans, established names. It's great. As far as best bets go, I will give out a 3-leg parlay that I like
For a guy
strictly.
who says he doesn't
Um,
like parlays.
well, I gotta do one for the community here. And I was able to find one that I think works. And you want to go with stuff you're really confident in. Now, sometimes there's just not going to be any value on those lines. There is just a little bit of value left on Muhammad Makayev against Malcolm Gordon. I would grab that now while you can before that blows up to minus 900, minus 1,000. Look, Malcolm Gordon has certainly. I think he's overachieved his last couple fights in a way. I did bet him against Francisco Figueiredo. Also had the decision prop on that one, so that was a really nice cash.
No
But
doubt.
I don't think he's in Makayev's league in any way, shape, or form. Maybe even to a lesser extent than his last opponent, Charles Johnson. So you're gonna want that one. I think you're gonna want Carol Hosa too. She can go to the grappling. She likes to stand and bang, but even if she does that, she could probably outwork Lena Landsberg for 3 rounds. I'm not too concerned about that. That's a good parlay piece. And then as far as money line pieces go, with the fighters, I wouldn't touch anything else. I think I really like a lot of underdogs in this card personally. So I would go with instead adding in the over 2.5 of Sean Brady and Bilal Muhammad. That's minus 215. You could even bet that straight if you want to. I just think those guys are so durable and so high level. The high level fights are the ones that tend to go the distance. It's the low level fights where fighters will gas out that tend to not. And those are fun to bet too. But it's one of those things where covering the regional MMA, like I've been doing for you guys back since March now, has really taught me a lesson there. Um, but those are the three that I like for a parlay. And then as far as money line wagers go, I love Charles Oliveira. I may be maybe a little bit
I was
biased.
just going to ask, are you touching the main event at all?
Yes. And the way to play that is take him inside the distance. A big thing to betting is learning enough about these fighters to where you can eliminate certain paths to victory. Does Charles Oliveira outpoint Islam Makhachev? No, he doesn't. It's going to be, he can spark him out, like I believe, was it Lucas Martins did? No, I think it was Lucas Martins
Yeah.
that knocked out Makhachev. Yeah, that's certainly in play. I think a club and sub is also in play. And Charles is just so tricky on the ground that this is just going to be a lot of fun to watch. So maybe don't play it if you can, but if you do want to play it, um, take Charles inside the distance. If you like Makhachev, I think there's a lot of ways he can win this fight. He can win pretty much every way. I could see him trapping Charles on the ground, pounding him out with strikes, and getting him out of there due to fatigue. I could see him getting on the back, looking to choke out the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt, and then even winning a decision too. So if you want to maximize your value, take Charles inside the distance. Other than that, I also like, believe it or not, Caitlin Chugagian against Manon
Okay.
Fiorot. Um, Manon is an excellent prospect, but this is going to be the toughest fight of her career by far.
Yeah.
Caitlin is susceptible to big strikers in the division with big power, and Manon certainly got that. However, if that fight happens to get out of the second round and go to a decision, you got to favor Caitlin in that spot. So if you can, juice the orange a little bit more from the plus 165 we're seeing on her, maybe get more of a plus 190, 2-1 even. I would go with that. I like Caitlin in that spot.
At all surprised TJ's coming in as the underdog in this one?
He was actually one that I was going to look to give out as a bet. I am a little bit surprised. He certainly looked like a slower version of himself against Corey Sandhagen. And although I do think he edged that fight just barely, it definitely didn't look like the best version of TJ Dillashaw. That being said, this is a great matchup for him. Aljamain, um, he's he could certainly take TJ down, but it would be quite the sight if you were able to hold TJ down and even get him out of there with submission. That would be pretty wild, and so for that reason, I'm happy to bet on the idea that TJ could keep the fight standing for the better part of 3 rounds and outpoint Aljamain, land the bigger strikes in the feet, and go to a decision. You could take TJ by decision. That might be the better play.
Yeah.
Actually, I did just see that a good friend of mine, great guy, Clint from the Die Hard MMA podcast. He just laid a 5 unit max bet on TJ Dillashaw. Now, for that reason, I'm not giving that out as an official bet because Clint, if anybody in the betting community would know, is absolutely cursed with these types of things. So maybe avoid that one. But I also like Sean O'Malley as a dog.
Yeah.
While I like Sean
Quite the
Brady,
dog too, right?
yeah, he is. Especially for a fight that projects to stay standing for 3 rounds.
Yeah.
And I would say take the over, but we see these weird things happen in Sean O'Malley fights that I would just kind of lay off the over-unders on that one altogether as well.
Those are your betting bets. Best bets. Thanks, Jack. I appreciate
Yep.
that.